We are ready to begin Lesson 10-2. And just like I tell you in so many of our lessons, we're really not learning a whole lot of new stuff today. We're simply taking what we learned in the previous lesson and just adding one tiny little thing to it. The first thing that we need to remember when we're solving these multi-step equations is that I need to combine all like terms before you start doing any operations. Remember, I can't add apples and oranges. I can't add x's and y's. I can't add a's and b's. I can only add variables that are the same. So I need to gather up all of the like terms in this equation before I start solving for anything. So I see I have a 2x here, and I have a 5x here. So that's going to give me a total of 7x. And I have a plus 4 over here, and I have a minus 8 over here. So that's going to give me negative 4. Over here, there's nothing to combine, so I simply write him down again. And now look, I'm back down to a problem just like we were looking at in Lesson 10-1. I need to work my orders of operation backwards, so I need to get rid of minus 4 by adding 4. What I do to one side, I do to the other, which leaves me with 7x equals 28. And hopefully without even doing anything in your head, without doing any actual calculations, hopefully you can look at that and realize that x equals 4. We mentioned yesterday in Lesson 10-1 that it's easier to get rid of fractions with common denominators before solving. Just like in Lesson 10-1, let's just make our life easier and let's get rid of all of these fractions. And what's really nice about this is that they all have the same denominator. So I simply have to go through and multiply by 7, which is going to knock out all of my denominators, and I'm going to simply be left with 3y plus 5 equals negative 1. Now again, we're back to a problem just like we worked yesterday. Subtract 5 from both sides. Remember to watch those signs. Then divide both sides by 3, and I'm left with y equals negative 2. So now what if my denominators aren't common? Well, I can make the fractions have common denominators. Just like when you were adding and subtracting fractions from elementary school, or maybe from earlier in this year, I need to find what my common denominator is. And preferably you want to pick the smallest one. Now that way you don't end up with gigantic numbers. So in this case, my smallest common denominator would be 12. So I want to multiply by whatever it takes in order to get all of these denominators to be 12. So in this particular case, I'm going to multiply both the denominator and the numerator by 4, because that's what's going to give me 12 here. I'm going to multiply this denominator by 3 in order to get 12, and if I do it to him, I have to do it to him. I'm going to multiply this denominator by 2, which means I have to multiply him by 2. In order to get 12 in the denominator here, I need to multiply 2 by 6. And if I multiply by 6 here, I have to multiply by 6 here. So that's going to end up looking like, let's go back through, I needed to multiply by 4 here. So if I multiply by 4 here, I multiply by 4 there, and end up with 8p. Plus, I had to multiply by 3 here. So I have to multiply him by 3. I had to multiply him by 2. And I had to multiply him by 6. Now I'm back down to combining like terms. I have an 8p and a 3p, which gives me 11p minus 2 equals 42. Now I'm back to solving problems just like I did in 10-1. I need to get rid of minus 2 by adding 2. If I add 2 over here, I have to add 2 over here, which gives me 11p equals 44. And hopefully you can see in your head then that p would be equal to 4. Part 2 will continue on the other section.